Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Ryan Vergara with the Onward podcast. Today, we sit down with Priya Nali of Lotus Properties and Priya Nali Business Coaching. We talk everything real estate and the importance of business coaching and getting started in your real estate business.
This is awesome.
All right, so I'm here with Priya Nali, and Priya and I, we met during a transaction. So we're both real estate agents. We were both very early in our real estate careers. I think so. This was
I was 3 years in. It was 2017. We just had our 5-year friend anniversary in August.
That's right, 5 years, because we met the week that my son was born. We were negotiating a contract.
I forgot about that.
I was in the hospital. My son was being born. And you represented the buyers on a listing that I had.
Yes.
So we were sitting there and we were negotiating a contract while I am in the hospital with my son.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. I like to think I won that negotiation, though.
Okay. I'll give you this win if that's what you need.
No. I think it went under contract like the first weekend. So
no, it was great. The transaction was part of why we continued the relationship.
Right.
Was it was just seamless.
Right. So we met in the summer of 2017. So it was mid-August 2017. We did that transaction together, and we just kind of maintained touch over the last few years. And one of the things that I really like about you is that, one, we're able to have really great conversations with each other. We're able to be really open and honest about the conversations that we have. But we have not a completely dissimilar path, kind of through real estate. Kind of through the years, we have always had conversations where we're always typically about at the same level, as far as growth, as far as our team's production, things like that. So we're always able to bounce off, great ideas with each other. So tell me a little bit about kind of how you got into real estate, why you got into real estate, and like the early part of your journey.
Yeah. So I got licensed in 2014. At the time, I was a single mom. I was living in my parents' basement. I was broke as shit.
Yeah. And
my why at the time, which is not my why now, but my why at the time was I wanted a career where I didn't miss stuff with my daughter because I was her only parent. So I wanted to be there for everything. And I think a lot of realtors get into the industry with the thought that, I have all the freedom and flexibility, and there is the potential for that, right? But that's not how it typically starts off. So started in 2014. I stayed in this part-time, hot mess, no real direction mode for about 3 years. And then 2017 for me was my first big shift. I had a lot of losses in 2017 personally. I lost my job, my best friend, my boyfriend, and my car all within like 60 days.
It
was a rough 60 days. And I was like, okay, we need to reset. So when I pressed that reset button, I really told myself, I've got to go all in. This part-time bullshit isn't going to work. So I switched at that point to Pearson Smith Realty, which is where I am now. And that really is what propelled me to where I am today. I got a ton of support, a ton of guidance, just the collaboration in the office, all of that was really great. And it helped me to get on the path I needed to be on to see the success that I wanted to see for myself.
Sure.
So 2017, I switched over, I think it was end of July, and I started making moves right away. 30 days in, I had people under contract. I was starting to get my business plan in order. But I again knew that I didn't know it all, right? I still needed some additional help. So I started business coaching beginning of 2018, and I hit my first 6-figure year.
Awesome.
And so from there, I needed that win. It told me that I can do this, that I can actually have this be my career, and I don't have to work the side jobs that were distracting me. And so I stayed as a single agent for the most part, 2018 on. But I ended up like a lot of agents, which was I was burnt out. And I was exhausted, and I wasn't seeing my family the way I wanted to. And 2018, I got married. I got pregnant. We'll pretend it was in that order.
Yep.
And that started another chapter of my life, and I knew
Sure.
I couldn't just stay on the path that I was on in terms of just nonstop working.
Right.
So beginning of 2021, I had my second big shift, and that was started working with the new business coach, and she really helped me take things to the next level, and she's the one who really encouraged me to start my real estate team, which is what I started in May of 2021. So that's kind of
Very cool.
the journey.
So I'm going to back up just a little bit.
Yeah.
So from 14 to 17, you were a part-time agent, and then ended up switching brokerages where things kind of took off for you. So what were some of your pain points going from part-time agent to really full-time agent and making this like a full-time career? So what were some of your like two of your hardest pain points, and then how did you kind of fix that and overcome that so that when you made that shift into a full-time producing agent, the two things that you had really going really well in your business that helped you with that shift?
Yeah, I think, the reason I stayed in that part-time mode was because I had no direction. I had no idea what I actually needed to do to run my business like a business.
Yep.
And so taking that pain point, it was really just getting a business coach, getting the extra support, because I knew that I needed someone else to show me the way.
Right.
I had tried doing it on my own. I was so hell-bent on being a solo agent, and that was fine, but I still needed the help.
Right.
So really getting business coaching and putting together an actual business plan, and not just putting together the plan, because the plan's great, but then you have to implement it and you have to execute it. And
Right.
so then putting the systems in place for myself where I was waking up every morning and I knew what I needed to do in my day. It was very clear these were the needle moving activities for my business.
Mm-hmm.
And so I need to just focus on that. And I really I got tunnel vision and I blocked all the bullshit out, because there's so much of this shiny new object syndrome that we all struggle with in the industry.
Yep.
I mean, it's overwhelming.
So what are two of those things then that you really focused in on, especially early on? I know your team has grown, so you have some different things that you focus on, right? But early on, what are like two of the things that you really focused on to get your business going? Because I think we're in a place in the market, and you and I, we work kind of the same Northern Virginia area, the Northern Virginia market, right? And the market is shifting a little bit where, what I'm telling my agents is the real professionals are going to start to shine here, right? The part-timers, the fly-by-nights, like they might not be able to do this because they're not
weeding
pros,
themselves out.
right? They're not pros. They haven't been through this.
Yeah.
They don't know how to negotiate a contract. So some things are shifting. But what are some things that you did early on that really helped your business grow? Like what were you super focused on?
It was creating the business plan, one that made sense, that was hyper focused on just my pillars, and again, blocking out all of the noise, just focused on my pillars. And then it was creating the back end system. So because I had these back end systems in place, I was able to start doing volume without the chaos. Because I think that's a lot of times what happens. All of a sudden, okay, you're doing the lead generating activities, now you have the volume, and then it becomes chaotic because you don't have the back end to really support that.
Hey, hope y'all are enjoying this content. Do me a favor, smash that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. Like when you say pillars, what are you talking about? And give like what would you have? What are you talking about with some of your folks right now to be some of their main pillars?
So I'll give an example. One of my clients right now, their pillars are their sphere of influence and referral business, networking, and social media. So those are their three pillars. I typically tell people, and this is what I tell my team, this is what I tell my coaching clients, start with two pillars. And a lot of coaches I hear, and even coaches I've had, say have three pillars. But for me, when you're trying to get some of your foundations in place, if you have three pillars and you're starting from ground zero with all three, that's a lot. That's a lot to implement at one time. Start with two. SOI should always be one of them. And really get those systems in place, get them running like a well-oiled machine to the point where you're really just maintaining. You're not building or, doing any of the deep work on it.
Totally.
And then look at how can we add a third pillar in here.
Right.
So what we have in coaching, for my coaching clients, is my future me list. Because I have clients that have all these great ideas. They're fantastic ideas, but they haven't gotten the foundations in place yet. And so, yes, I love the idea that you want to start a podcast. I love the idea, that you want to start farming your community. Not saying you shouldn't do those things, but let's focus here first. Let's get this really squared away, and then we can start pulling things off that future me list one by one by one.
That's a really really great way to think about it, because in the, so in the role that I have, I do, a lot of coaching as well. And it really is, be great at 2 or 3 things, right? Don't chase that shiny penny. Don't start, oh, I'm going to do a podcast. I'm going to start doing internet leads and all of those other things that cost money, and you send money out and you hope it sticks.
Right.
Right.
But it's also about being consistent too, because
totally,
if you can implement something and it can be working okay, maybe not at its full potential yet, but if you pull the plug on something too soon, especially something like farming, which it takes some time for that momentum to get built up, if you're not consistent in your business,
Yep.
you're never going to get the traction you need to actually get to where you want to go.
100%. So tell me a little bit about where are you now? Like, where 2022, where are you now with your real estate business? Where are you now? I know you're doing private coaching. So where are you now in your business, and how's that working right now?
Yeah, I'm kind of in this 50-50 spot. I am still in production, but I've really gotten to this place where I'm leveraging out the majority of what needs to be done from the production side, whether it be I operate under a showing agent model, so I have a showing agent assigned to each of my clients, and that's who is really with them doing the showings, doing that final walkthrough. I do always make it to closing because I want to be there for that for them. But I also have a full-time client care coordinator, and I have a transaction coordinator. So from the back end of my production and for my team, everything's really just operating. It's self-sufficient at this point. And that's what I'm really teaching my team members and my clients, and my coaching clients as well, is get your business to a self-sufficient place.
100%.
So I'm probably at like a 40% on the production side in terms of how I'm allocating my time, and then I'm on another 60% I'm dedicating to just supporting my team and my coaching clients.
Right. So what's really cool is I've seen you grow from, and you've seen it on this other side. You watch me. So we have both turned our businesses from where we are 100% of our production to
wearing all the hats,
to now where we are now actually running a company, right? Where we are less involved in production. We might pick a deal here or there for close friends and things like that. But you really are running a company from a high level, and you've put systems in place and leverage in place, so that you no longer have to do showings at 3:00 on a Saturday, or open houses from 1 to 3 on a Sunday, which is really cool to see. So your growth over the last at least 5 years that I've known you has been awesome.
Thank you. It's been fun to be on that journey with you in a way.
Right. And I think like kind of where we are, and to be honest, like, to be completely honest, you and I are kind of the beginning stages of that, right? Like, we don't have huge teams. We do good production. We don't do huge production, but we are at the beginning stages of like CEO of our own company. Whereas we're getting off of the self-employed track, where if you stopped doing 2 years ago, if you stopped buying and selling or helping people buy and sell homes, your income completely goes away.
That would be
right?
zero.
Right. So now we are a little bit less on that. We are more on the CEO end, where we're able to pass deals off and leverage people that work with us, and our buyers agents, listing agents, and all of our back end support. So we're able to leverage that back and able to get back some of our time. And with our time, we're either able to continue to build our business, shift into another business, which you have done in your coaching, or, and we'll talk about this, which is super important to both of us, is getting the time back with our families.
Yep.
Right. So being able to transition from self-employed to a true business owner, you really do get back a whole lot of time, and then you can leverage that out to do a bunch of different
whatever
things,
you want,
which is totally fun. So how has real estate helped you create a better work-life balance? Right. So that's initially why you got in. That's 100% initially why I got in. So why I got in, when I got in, I was working at a gym, and my wife asked me, she was like, well, aren't you going to be working all the time? Like, aren't you going to work on weekends? I was already working weekends at the gym. Like, when you work at a gym, you work there.
You live there.
You live there. You work 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. or, whatever. But I told her, I was like, yeah, I'll have to work on the weekends. I might have to do an open house. I might have to do some showings. But when I'm not, I get to be home. So I think, when you're not working, your work-life balance is a little bit better. When you are working, you obviously have to work, and that's kind of the trade-off. But at least I'm not sitting in the gym for 8 hours. So, with you and how has real estate helped your work-life balance, and how has it changed? How has it helped you build the lifestyle that you're in now?
I think now, today, where I am, again, I have those systems in place. I've leveraged and automated a lot of my business to where I'm not having to be in it all the time, and it can still operate. But it's funny because a lot of people get into real estate wanting that work-life balance, but then they get themselves on this hamster wheel and they're wearing all the hats and they're burnt out. So I think that real estate has the potential to give people work-life balance, but you have to have those systems in place. You have to leverage out the stuff that doesn't require you. That's not the best use of your time.
Right.
So for me now, again, I have my full-time client care coordinator. I have my transaction coordinator. I have 3 awesome team members who are a great support to myself and to each other and their businesses. So it's allowed me, and another part of that too is just the boundaries, setting boundaries in your business. My computer gets shut at 5 o'clock no matter what.
Yep.
No matter what, I'm shutting my computer at 5 o'clock. I might answer a client text message, or obviously if we need to submit an offer or something like that needs to happen. Right. I'm always going to make sure my people are taken care of.
Sure.
But I get a few core hours with my kids every day.
Yep.
They're in school and preschool full time. All I get is the evenings and the weekends. And as you know, as a dad, you blink. And my oldest is in 4th grade.
Yeah.
And when I started in this business, she was 1. So the last 8 years has flown by. And I don't want to feel like I'm missing stuff.
Right.
So I really just have implemented those boundaries. I've implemented the systems, and now I'm there. I'm at the soccer practices and the soccer games and the recitals for dance and whatever's going on. We go on vacations. We do at least 5 vacations a year.
Yep.
That's a huge thing for us, is that time away, because you got to reset. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
We started t-ball and soccer for my 2.
Doing all the things.
It completely fills up your Saturday. But I was like, man, Saturdays are cool to rest and be with your family. But I'll tell you what, there's nothing better than hanging out with your kids and watching them do something that they love to do on the weekends. It's a lot of fun. So tell me a little bit about your coaching business and what you're doing at that, and tell me your opinion on why coaching is so important.
Sure. So I have a group coaching program as well as one-on-one. I take very limited one-on-ones because I don't want to burn myself out.
Yep.
But really, I'm helping agents go from burnout to breakthrough, right? Where we have these burnout agents or agents that are just getting the business and want to avoid the burnout, and getting those systems in place so they can run their business and their life like a CEO. That's really what it's all about, because when you don't run your business and your life like a CEO, that's when things just get chaotic and overwhelmed, and that's why people drop out of the industry. Yep. Because it becomes too much. So really, I've just been pouring everything that I've collected over the years into this program, and it's been awesome. I'm seeing people make some massive changes in their business in a short period of time. And we've talked about this before. A business coach can give you all the framework, all the resources, all the templates, all the everything, but it's up to people to implement it.
Yep. And
when I see people actually implementing and putting in the work to make the changes in their business, it's super rewarding for me. I get emotional sometimes, because it's like watching your kids learn to do something new. Totally. It's really exciting. And coaching, even before I became a coach, I was always a big advocate for having coaching. To me, therapists help you with your past and your present, and coaches help you take you from your present to the future. So when you have a situation where you're not hitting your goals, you're feeling burnout, you are overwhelmed, you're not getting time with your family, all of that stuff, to have somebody else, an outside perspective, come in and help you dissect your problems and break them down into bite-sized, manageable pieces, that's how you start making progress. Because when you're in your problem, you're emotional, you're stressed, you can't look at your issue the same way that somebody else can. And coaching on a couple of different occasions have really been what has set me up for the success that I've had. It's really pushed me in that direction. So,
Totally.
yeah.
So what is your coaching program? How has it started? How have you started to see it impact others?
So one of my clients, actually I had 2 coaching calls this morning, so I can speak to those.
Yeah.
He came to me, he did 6 figures last year, but he had no systems in place. And so he was just in this grasping mode, and he has all these great ideas, and I love them. His future me list is getting long. So what we really have been focusing on with him is creating the streamlined systems in his business, creating a business plan that just focuses on his pillars, so we're not wasting time in our days and weeks working on things that really aren't a part of the plan, and then breaking down his schedule so that when he wakes up in the morning, it's okay, these are the things that I need to do in my day. And I know exactly what I need to do, and I'm not focusing on anything else. And when you do that, not only are you making your life easier and your business run smoother, but you're getting hours back in your day. Because when you have those hours of deep work, you're not wasting it doing all this other stuff. I get scatterbrained. Everyone gets scatterbrained. So just helping him really streamline everything's been great. And then I have another coaching client who had not had a transaction in 2 years.
Wow.
2 years. And after working with her, she ended up with 8 transactions in 8 months of
That's
working
awesome.
together. So that's the stuff that I'm like, hell freaking yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing. It's amazing. Just implementing. And people, they always have it in them. It's not me that's doing it. It's not me that's
Right.
really changing their business. It's me helping guide them and them actually implementing
Totally.
that's making that change.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, so I've been a football coach for basically all my life, so 22 years, and it is interesting, and it's one of the most rewarding things that I do for sure. Every year you take a team that I had in August, and they're awful. Can't get lined up, can't tackle a soul, can't run a play. To the end of the year, they've really they've changed as football players, they've changed as young men. And it is truly, like, coaching is one of the more rewarding things that you can do, and it's a great way to give back. I mean, obviously, you get paid for the coaching that you do, but helping somebody else succeed and accomplish their dreams is awesome. It's really cool to watch.
For sure.
So if you had an agent, brand new agent, what are 3 things that you would tell them to do right now to be successful in real estate?
Only 3 things.
Only 3.
I'm going to give some fairly large umbrellas that other things get sprinkled under.
Yep.
I mean, one for me is business coaching. And I don't just say that as a coach. I say that
Yep.
because that's what helped me. That is what took my business to the next level
Right.
in a lot of ways.
Well, sorry, I'm interrupting.
No,
but,
you're good.
Like, you see people get into real estate all the time, and they don't do a single transaction, and then they get out of the business, right? So I think, getting plugged in with a coach, getting plugged in with your market center or your broker or whoever that may be, somebody that's been through it. Like, you have to take advantage of the resources that are available. No matter what brokerage you work for, take advantage of the resources that are in front of you in order to help you put kind of those systems in place.
For sure. I mean, support's everything.
Yep.
I don't believe that anybody gets to where they are without support from someone somewhere. So definitely the business coaching mentorship, get connected with someone that's going to help make that road a little less bumpy for you. A business plan, that is huge to me. If you don't have a roadmap, how are you going to know how to get to where you want to go?
100%.
Your business plan is your roadmap. It's going to tell you exactly what you need to be doing on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual basis to move the needle forward in your business.
Yep.
If you don't have a roadmap, you will get lost and you will end up in a dark alley, and that is scary and not fun.
Yeah.
So business coach, business plan, and boundaries. Boundaries for me is huge, not just in your professional life, but your personal life. And making sure that you have that time for yourself, you have that time for your family, that it's okay, telling yourself it's okay to say no. And it's not always a no, I'm unfortunately I have an appointment at that time, but I do have an opening at this time instead. Would that work for you?
Right.
And I think within that, recognizing that you don't owe people an explanation. That was a hard lesson I had to learn. I always felt like when I said no, I had to explain why.
Right.
And I don't need to. I just have an appointment, and everything in my life is an appointment.
100%. One of the things that we, as real estate agents, when we say yes to something, we're saying no to something else, right?
For sure.
And you want to get to the point where, you're spending time with your family as much as you can. So you need to set those expectations, set those boundaries with clients. When folks call me and say, "Hey, I'd like to see a house," I'm like, "Great, I'm available from this time to this time." Which of those times work? Like I set those standards. Yep. Very rarely is it, "Hey, I need to see a house. Can you be there at 3?" I'm like, "Well, no, I can't." But you just have to prioritize things, and you have to. We do work in a business where you can work 24 hours a day.
100%.
Right, and I love my wife. My wife loves me, and
you want to keep
same
it that
thing
way.
As you, we keep things good because at a certain point I stop working, and I set that expectation up front with my clients. Just say, "Hey, listen, typically 6 or 6:30, I am off of I stop working. If I need to write a contract, I write a contract. Right?
Of course,
like
of
that
course.
is just one of those things. But if I don't respond to you, I don't answer your phone call right away. I promise I got it, but I will get back to you first thing in the morning, right?" I think it's hard for clients sometimes to understand that they work a 9 to 5, and if their boss were to call them at 8 o'clock at night and say, "Hey, I need you to do X, Y, and Z," you'd say no.
Kick rocks.
Right, right. So being able to set boundaries in your business is super important. Okay, so what does 2022, the rest of 2022, and the rest of 2023 look like for you in real estate and coaching? Like, what does that look like for you? What are your me laters for next year?
My future me.
Yeah,
list?
your future me. Yeah, what's your future me for next year?
Well, I'll start with the rest of this year. We have a client event coming up in November for the team, so super excited about that.
Okay.
We're focusing on end of the year planning with coaching clients and the team, and I do my own individual one prior to all of that. And spending time with family. That's, we have the holidays coming up, and
Yeah.
I actually take off the last 2 weeks of the year, and my kids are out of school, and so we're home. So I'm looking forward to that. 2023, future me. I'm really focused on providing a lot of value to my clients, and that is on the production side. That is my team members. That is my coaching clients. And so I'm really focused on continuing to build out the systems in my business that allow me to provide that high level of value without me constantly having to be the one to do it.
Yep.
I am switching over to a new training platform for my coaching clients, so I am excited about that. Everything's going to be all in one spot, really easy to watch training videos, to get the resources that they need, to get one-on-one chat support, all of that good stuff with me. So I'm excited to get that started at the beginning of the year. And yeah, I think really my focus right now is just the balance of my life and making sure that I have everyone taken care of, but that everyone includes me.
Sure.
And my family. So, yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, and it's just been, like I said earlier, it's so fun watching you grow professionally and personally. We stay in contact, a few times throughout the year. I really appreciate you coming on and talking to us a little bit about your journey and talking to us a little bit about coaching programs and what you're doing to help others in this business. And I really look forward to the rest of 2022 and 2023 and seeing kind of where your business kind of takes you. It's been fun to watch.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. And, I love you. And I'm glad that we've gotten to do a lot of our journey together. So it's been great.
Absolutely. Love you too. All right.